Oh, there we go. Alrighty. Welcome back, everybody. I believe we're just gonna do a little bit more Death Stranding here. Probably not too much. Probably not too much. I want to play more Battlefield if I'm being completely honest. And I work tomorrow, so I can't be on too long. Sam, what happened here, bud? Why is every part of you clean except for your face? Were we wading through water? What happened last time? I don't exactly remember. Victor Frank, America's whole again, right? And Nick Easton, to the man who delivers "I'm sorry" prayer emoji. I remember the game plan. I think let's clean up for the moment. Get the hell out of here. Yeah, I remember what we wanted to do. We are going to...
Bridges ID. Verifying ID.
Oh yeah, I had to reset all of these because they got damaged. We're going to set up some zip lines. We do have to go get those again. I'm hoping that the guys have not respawned yet. Yeah, it's all timefall everywhere.
Clear. Weapons detected. All weapons will be locked until the...
What all do I have on me? Two of a bunch of things? Yeah, why not? What's going on, Lucas? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think we can wrap up the tutorial zone today. Other than... Well, actually, we could probably get all the memory chips here then. If we 5-star everything, and all that I need to 5-star still, I believe, is... Mr. Keeley. Oh no, I already... Yeah, he's about to be 5-star. Somebody already has this set up for us. I don't know if I need to use that. May as well. Lucas, what's your plan today? Today's Friday. You think you'll be on? I mean, I can't be on too late, and I don't know if, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the guys are up to, if they're up to anything.
What can't you do?
You don't really have any plans. I see. Where are we trying to get connected to? I need to find that zip line. That's the hill. Okay. That's the hill? I suppose so. Should I just work my way back from there? That's the hill.
Wonder if anyone's watching.
Alright, I don't need to be here. I need to be on the other side. Down from the Battlefield 6 if we do some. I would like to... I've been having a lot of fun with that game. I've been having fun grinding out the challenges. I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole earlier today. I went on the Vinesaw subreddit to see what they were up to, which I actually don't do very often for a community that I enjoy being a part of. And it led me to... a collection of some of Vinny's worst streams in the past, like, decade. It was interesting. I'm gonna have to walk. Wait, it's right there. That's a different one. That's not showing up on my map? Or is it... It's not that, is it? No? Why isn't that one showing up on my map? Okay. Well, we can just use that one. But I kind of want to make one on the hill now anyway. Yeah, but I was checking out some of Vinny's worst streams in the past 10 years or so. I remember, I do know of a handful of them, but a lot of these I must have memory hold. Since there's, I mean, probably several thousand streams that have happened between then and now. This should be fine. Right? Yeah, why not? So that'll take me... Okay, now it's showing up. Maybe I wasn't close enough to it. Okay, that's one issue resolved. And then I still have this timefall problem. Is there any way at all that I can get around that?
Construction complete.
Oh my god, it doesn't reach. It doesn't reach. Okay. That's fine. Should I just go get the cargo? What's in the truck? Yeah, I should just go get everything. There's not that much in there. We're gonna leave the truck there. That's gonna ferry stuff to and from the Ridge Knot City. Don't drop me off the cliff. Oh, I didn't build another container, like a carrier. No, I didn't do that. Gotta go get another carrier.
Right on.
Maybe even two. Oh, what else is going on? I finished the Down the Rabbit Hole, which was on the history of the unofficial, what was it? The unofficial Skyrim, like, bug fixes, community bug fix, patch, mod, UESP or something. unofficial Elder Scrolls patch. I don't know. Yeah, it was on the history of that.
Sam Porter Bridges.
That was an enjoyable experience. Surely there's level 3 carriers, right? I wonder how I get those then. And there's nothing in my locker that I need, right? Before we leave again? No.
Have a pleasant journey.
Okay, that's about all I had to talk about. Let's continue. You guys want to continue? Oh no, where is it? It's in my other tab.
More important, with Mama, she was able to see her own sister again, and also
Yeah,
come to
here we
terms with
go.
her condition. As right before we cut her cord, she says, "You have to break some ties to forge others." It's sort of like saying when one door closes, another opens. Sometimes ending things opens up the opportunity to start other things. And Mama, severing her connection with her baby, gave her the chance to move on and reconnect with her sister again. Hauling a corpse from one side of the map to the other takes a lot of work out of you, which is why Sam takes a rest in his private quarters until he realizes that BB's gone. Dead Man took it because something's up. BBs are only able to be in service for a short time due to their age. BBs are still fetuses, but after enough time they start to get older and become an actual living bee.
Chat says... Hang on, sorry, I had to mute Doki Bird. Also, Doki's playing Marvel Rivals, and I have fun watching that. I had to mute Doki Bird. Chat says, let's talk about how abandoning the gold standard has affected the domestic and global economy. Okay, if I just paste that into YouTube... Yeah, hey, why not? Here we go. Economics Explained. Was dropping the gold standard a
On August
mistake?
15th, 1971, President Richard Nixon announced that the United States would be terminating
Yeah,
the
why not?
convertibility of
Why
American
not?
dollars into gold, turning the world's reserve medium of exchange into something backed by nothing but belief. Over the next 5 years, the price of gold, which up until that point had been the baseline store of value, more than tripled in price. Thought of another way, by this same standard, the American dollar lost more than 2/3 of its value. This decision preceded 2 decades of record high inflation in the US, where prices were increasing by double-digit percentages year on year, all while the value of the American dollar slumped in international markets. Today, we are once again staring down the barrel of record high inflation. So it seems only sensible to ask ourselves, was dropping the gold standard a mistake? Many prominent economists and financiers point to this moment as the beginning of the end for America's economic
Oh wait, I forgot to jump! I
superiority,
didn't grab the
while
stuff!
more argue that it was a necessary step that released the currency and by extension the global economy from an unnecessary burden. Following the global financial crisis of 2008, there were renewed calls by certain policymakers to take a look at the possible return of a gold standard in America. And once again, as the world struggles through another period of economic uncertainty, the idea does seem worth exploring. This is also a great
This is too much. I'm sorry. Who did it?
of exchange into something backed by nothing but belief. Over the next 5 years, the price of gold, which up until that point had been the baseline store of value, more than tripled in price.
I'll give you your
Thought of
answer.
another way, by this same standard, the American dollar lost more than 2/3 of its value. This decision preceded 2 decades of record high inflation in the US, where prices are increasing by double-digit percentages year on year, all while the value of the American dollar slumped in international markets. Today, we are once again staring down the barrel of record high inflation, so it seems only sensible to ask ourselves, was dropping the gold standard a mistake? Many prominent economists and financiers point to this moment as the beginning of the end for America's economic superiority, while many more argue that it...
Yes. I believe is the answer you're... Oh no, we didn't ask it a question like that. Let's talk about how that has affected the domestic and global economy. Negatively, it sounds like.
This is a problem.
That's my takeaway from the first minute and a half of that video.
Living, so them being actual children would mean they lose their ability to function as intended. Sam and likely the player are starting to get worried, as they've likely grown attached to BB, seeing as they're the sole reason they can cross the BT zones to begin with. To save BB, Deadman needs to perform
Interesting,
in order to realign it, but that's going to take some time, as we'll be without it for a while.
I'm putting that down in my thesis.
Detail that comes up during the scene, though, is that Deadman says that doing the
has affected the domestic and global economy negative. And Sam.
Up until this point, Sam has never said the name Lou or even mentioned that he named the BB. This is foreshadowing for later, so keep that in mind. Still though, we're going to be without Lou for a while, which sucks a lot. This trope is very common in games where players are forced to fight without an ability or their entire inventory, and it's the same here for Death Stranding. It just so happens to be one of the most important pieces in our arsenal, and you know the game is going to throw lots of BTs at you just to hammer home how vital Lou is to the team. To add insult to injury, the game also ramps up the difficulty by having you trek through the mountains, which are steep, covered in snow, and walking through it drains your stamina fast. While I absolutely hated going through it at the time, now that I finished the game, I can say that I at least appreciate the spike in difficulty this area provided. Before we can head out though, we join Deadman in the shower for some alone time. It's not the alone time you're thinking of, given Sam already struggles enough with just touching people, but rather some actual alone time, as the showers are the only places they can't be monitored, and Deadman has some information for us. He repeats what we talked about a few minutes ago regarding Bridges and the secret BB experiments, but he adds that Bridget wanted to also make the BBs not just BT detectors, but also objects that connect to the chiral network in an attempt to facilitate travel to the beach. This never worked though, and after some time, the terrorists retrieved their own BBs, which is why Higgs has one despite not being employed by Bridges. Seeing as Die Hardman is the director of Bridges, he must have had some kind of involvement in this, or at the very least knew what was going on, but Deadman has turned up nothing, and that's what scares him. He doesn't even know his real name and has never seen his face before, so he thinks he has something to hide. This, like a lot of info in Death Stranding, is something that will be explained later towards the final hours of the game, so we'll circle back to this at the end. Getting back to the task at hand, we're told by Die Hardman to link up more preppers in the area, and we're also told that there's a giant tar belt surrounding Edgenaut City, so getting through there is going to be a problem. More importantly though, more preppers means more busy work, and it's arguably worse here since all of them join without any issue except the Mountaineer. He wants us to travel to a doctor so we can get him a medical device for his wife. This is all that's needed to link up the final prepper, so I must ask, if they left the UCA to live on their own, why are they this adamant about going back? Die Hardman makes it seem like getting these people back on our side is going to be difficult. Admittedly, it's rather merciful that it's not, given how pointless these missions are.
What about right here?
But it doesn't make the game any less interesting. Talking to and linking up these people doesn't further the plot, and it sucks to have to go from a stellar quest like Mama's to more of this right after. It's not that they needed to have a central part of the plot like our main cast for it to matter, but the missions don't solve anything or answer questions. The earlier mission with the oxytocin was connected to the world of Death Stranding, giving these preppers their packages isn't. In the grand scheme of things, technically everything we do is furthering the narrative, as the chiral network is not only being shared to these individuals, but their own works are being added to it too, so everyone is benefiting from it. Still though, it's not something we ever see, nor is it something that feels important, even if the game says that it is. Where things start to get interesting though is when we get introduced to the photographer. She claims that her father had a camera with some pictures on it that could prove vital to our investigations to the Death Stranding. On the camera is images of a cave painting from the Neanderthals, and one of the paintings is that of a dolphin. Hartman hypothesizes that because the cave this was from was nowhere near the coastline, the Neanderthals didn't run into dolphins but rather BTs.
Sam?
That this is true, this means that the Death Stranding is not the first of its kind. Hartman further states that the Death Stranding may have also been the cause of the Big Five. The Big Five are the 5 mass extinctions that have happened in our own world.
No, that's fine.
The one most commonly known is the dinosaurs who were wiped out by an asteroid. Hartman has a theory that the Death Stranding was the cause of these 5 mass extinctions. I say theory, but he's correct. Just about everything that comes out of his mouth is correct, which isn't out of character since he is a beach expert, but still, it's a bit strange how a lot of the mystery is solved almost immediately thanks to Hartman spelling it out for us, thanks to his so-called theories always being facts. It's very clear that Kojima is speaking to us through Hartman, and it can be a bit bothersome at times. This isn't even the only character he does this to, as this Aaron Hill person emails you to talk about Mama's unique Adra deck, and how it reminds him of a fallen angel like the one who followed Beelzebub down to Egypt, and my first thought was, who the hell are you and how did you get my email? Some of the characters in this game are either vessels for Kojima or become possessed by him for a short time, and it's not hard to notice once you start looking. After a few more deliveries, Deadman comes by and talks about Lou and says to meet at a specific location. Once we arrive though, we're sucked into another supercell, but this time from World War II. I will say, while Higgs is really good at making an entrance verbally, Cliff is the same but for the exact opposite reason. You just can't help but get hyped whenever he appears on the screen, even if his whole plan is to kill you and take Lou. Before we defeat Cliff though, we need to find Deadman and Lou who are inside one of the sewer systems. This near-death experience allows Deadman to open up to Sam, giving us a chance to learn more about him. He opens up maybe a bit too much though, as not only does he share info with us about himself, but also about Sam's backstory, which is not a pleasant one to say the least. For Deadman, he is called that not because he's fascinated with the dead, although that is part of it, but rather he's an actual Frankenstein monster. Deadman was born via in vitro fertilization, meaning he's a test tube baby, except the sperm donors are unknown and the womb is artificial, so by technicality, he was never born in the traditional sense. Furthermore, some of his organs didn't function as intended or were just simply missing, so the doctors took them from other donors.
Yeah, what's going
Whereas
on,
I can personally
Dash?
say that my body is
what's
my own,
going
as
on?
I've never had a transplant of any kind. The same cannot be said for Deadman.
Yeah, we
Everything
got
that's
the
a part of
floating
him is not
carrier,
his own, from his
we do.
organs to even his own birth, which is why his name is Deadman, as he was never truly alive to begin with. As such, given the nature of the beach, he can't visit one as he doesn't have one. Having one means you have a soul
Cargo's
that
just
will pass
sliding
on
right
to the
off of
beach,
it, though.
but Deadman has no soul, just a body that isn't even his to begin with. Due to being artificial, Deadman never had any parents, and he also struggled to make friends. That is until Sam came along, as he's the only one to have built a connection with him, which is why he was comfortable sharing that information. But of course, now that they're friends, it's only fair that the first thing Deadman does is repeat all of Sam's history to us and make him relive one of the worst days of his life. Deadman looked into the archives and discovered why Sam named his BB Lou. It feels so unnatural to get this information this way. It felt like it would have just been better for Sam to say it instead of Deadman. That being said though, the info is quite important, as it gives us a lot of context regarding
Is that
Sam's
tier 2?
departure from Bridges and his hatred for America. Sam's birth is something we'll have to talk about later, but I'll just say that Bridget is not his biological mother, yet she still took care of him as if he was her own. As Sam got older, he started reappearing on the beach constantly and ended up manifesting those doom abilities of his.
Tie down, you
Being
have
a child,
rope,
he had no
I have
idea what was going
strands.
on, which is why Amelie would comfort him as much as possible while on the beach. This is also around the time he contracted that aphantasmophobia, so Bridget recommended he see a therapist who is named Lucy. Lucy is a sort of atheist in the sense, as she doesn't believe in the beach. She knows that BTs, dooms, and repatriates exist, but the beach is something she sees as a collective delusion, a way for humanity to explain what these new creations are. Strange that she draws the line there of all places, but regardless, she was
gonna make it work.
Sam come to terms with his condition and possibly overcome it. Lucy assumed that a lot of this stemmed from Amelie, and she theorizes that if they distance themselves, he might overcome this resistance to his physical touch. Sam lashed out at her for this comment, but instead of backing down, she went further and told him that the beach was fictional and that his repatriation was just a way for him to explain his near-death experiences that he's had. Instead of getting angry though, he remained quiet for the rest of the session, as she feared that she may have pushed him too far. Well, she did, as the next time that they meet, Sam seems determined to prove her wrong by committing suicide in her office to show that he can return from the beach. This, of course, convinces her, and is also what makes
this
Sam
is
break
Tyler.
down, as
These
he always
are,
wants to talk about this with someone who will understand and accept him that isn't.
These are absolutely like dialogue, email pieces of data that we have
Bridget
not
Amelie.
received
And
yet.
since Lucy was his therapist,
Yet,
someone whose
but we
job
will.
is to listen to him, he developed a connection with her. They also ended up holding hands after he woke up, and he never pulled away, and they both realized that they share a connection with each other. Thanks to Lucy, Sam was not only able to cure his aphantasmophobia, but he was also able to start a family. The couple was going to have a daughter who Sam named Louise, or Lou for short, but as she got closer to giving birth, she kept experiencing the same night.
You see the new Down the Rabbit Hole? I did. I actually was just talking a little bit about that. Yeah, the Skyrim one. The unofficial patch. I did. I finished that earlier today. Okay, we're getting really close. I think this is the last one that we need. Here, and then around the corner.
Construction complete.
It didn't do anything. I think I tried that before. It also didn't do it. Surely I can get an angle here, right? Floating carrier, or you have to jump. Oh, that wasn't jumping. Hey, where'd I leave my car? Where's my car? Yeah, I think this is probably fine. Okay. Okay. I think that gets us all the way across, right? It gets us over here. There's still one more timefall zone.
Nightmare of waking up on the beach. Bridget seemed to have caught wind of this and was able to show her everything. Lucy saw the beach, the birth of Sam, the death stranding, and even more things we haven't talked about yet, and it practically broke her. Her last note was addressed to Sam, and it talks about her taking her own life. As we know though, suicide isn't that simple in Death Stranding, and due to no one finding her, she caused the void out which took the entire city. Sam had actually went to go see her at this time as he wasn't able to get a hold of her and he was caught in the blast. Once he revived, he saw the destruction, which broke him even more. Given the circumstances of the death being a suicide and the husband of the deceased being the only survivor, blame was put on Sam immediately, and he was blamed for the cause of the void out. Bridges was under a lot of public pressure due to this incident, which led to Sam resigning. That's why he's a freelancer in the intro. He left Bridges but continued to do his work under his own name and not Bridges. Honestly, given what happened, I can understand why Sam would hate the UCA and would want nothing to do with America at all. But this is why BB is called Lou, as she's named after his late daughter. This is very clearly a deep and traumatizing moment for Sam, which is why it's weird that Deadman is so comfortable with just blurting out his business like that. In any case, it's nice to be able to get some information for once on Sam, as it gives us a better understanding as to why he initially disliked the idea of reconnecting America. Shortly after this, Hartman comes by and asks if Sam can bring Mama's corpse to his lab, as her body doesn't necrotize, so he wants to see why. Just like all the characters we've met so far, Hartman is another peculiar and unusual case. Hartman's unique quirk is that he purposely goes into cardiac arrest, only to be revived 3 minutes later. A few years ago, Hartman was going to the hospital for heart surgery. His wife and daughter were going to pay him a visit, but needed to stop home first. On their way home, though, they were caught in 2 simultaneous void outs, killing them both. Hartman wasn't caught in the blast, but the shockwave knocked out the power while he was on life support. Hartman, along with all the other victims of the Voidouts, were then sent to the beach. However, the backup power kicked on and sent Hartman back to the land of the living. Just like how Bridges uses still mothers to replicate the first sighting of the BTs, Hartman replicated the day he died in order to go back to the beach and search for his family. He believes that if the beaches are different, then the afterlives have a chance to be different as well, and he wants to make sure he ends up in the afterlife with his family when he dies. So he spends his days repeating this cycle, 21 minutes with the living, 3 minutes with the dead, exploring the various beaches of the world in hopes that he finds their beach. He says he makes about 60 trips to the beach a day, and is on cycle 218,549, meaning
Hartman's so cool. He has a really interesting gimmick. You mentioned... So Hartman himself mentioned that his heart was weak now because of this. Does his heart give out every 21 minutes, or does he shut it off? Like, can he just take a break? I don't remember what the answer... Because I'm sure they did answer this, but I don't remember what it was. He uses an AEG to shut it down, so he could take a break. Can he? Cause hang on, cause there was a piece of... Hang on, do I need to make more? Yeah, I do. He mentioned he wants to stick to it to perfectly mimic his death so he maintains access to the beach.
Have a pleasant journey.
So here's the thing. And actually, this could be open-ended. This actually could be open. I actually may be interpreting this incorrectly. Okay, hang on. No, at the end here, you can imagine how frustrating it is to live life in 21-minute intervals. Speaking of which, I don't... Is he still locked into that? Because it kind of sounds like he's either saying, like, living life like that was very frustrating, and I don't want to do that anymore. Guys, I actually don't know how to interpret this. I don't know how to interpret him.
he's been doing this every day for almost 10 years. It's actually affected him so much that the repeated shocks to his heart have permanently changed the shape of his heart to that of a drawn one. Hell, even the Voidouts create the same heart shape.
That's right.
I don't really get why it was necessary to...
His heart's deformed. His heart is in the actual shape of a heart now. What did Kojima mean by
last
this?
detail, but the information is at least interesting. However, unlike Mama, we aren't able to help Hartman. Hartman has other plans for us, and even if we wanted to help him, this is his life now. We aren't going to be able to convince him to change, he has to do that himself.
Minology still does.
Hartman
Sounds
during
like
this
he is
conversation
locked
says,
into it despite not wanting to anymore.
But it's also
I think
the
he
reason I'll see
really
him again
fucked up his
someday.
heart.
Ironically, it's Hartman's heart that's the problem. He can't accept that he has to
I think he really fucked his heart up by dying 60 times a day.
move on, so he does this every day just to be proved wrong each time. It's also very likely he'll never find their beach given how many people exist. The nature of the beaches are still very confusing, like whether or not a beach still exists if that person passed on, and whether or not people outside the US count, as this game only focuses on the States, but doesn't mention if the broader world has been affected by this too. But hypothetically, if we were to assume on the low end that there's only 1 million beaches, Hartman's still going to be doing that for at least another 30 years at most. There is a less than 1% chance he actually finds them, which not only shows how dedicated he is to achieving his goal, but also how deluded his mind has become. Grief can be a hard thing to overcome, and everyone grieves in their own way, but I hope we can all see how insane this is. Hartman's heart is the reason he's alive, but it's also the thing that's killing him. I can understand where Hartman comes from, as if this theory is true, which is surprisingly the one theory he has that isn't a confirmed fact, and Hartman and his family will be in separate afterlives, then trying to prevent that is important, as they would be separated for eternity otherwise. But still, there's too many variables and unknowns at play here that trying to find the answer would be a worthless endeavor. The world is cruel, and bad things happen to good people, and Hartman doesn't deserve what happened to him, which is why it sucks that of all the people in this game, he's the one we can't help. However, Hartman doesn't seem to mind. He's been able to keep busy in between those 21-minute intervals as he's constantly working
Shocking,
on
guy named
researching
Hartman
the beach.
actually sucks at
Since
having
he
a
could visit
heart.
the beach more than any person, he's become the lead researcher on the beaches, so even if the beach he finds isn't his family's, his discoveries can still prove useful. As such, Hartman's instructions
He'd be better
are to
sure
deliver
of
some
being
packages
called.
to a few other researchers. It's once again more busy work, but the difference here is that unlike our
Jack,
prior
give me
work,
something
these
good here.
deliveries contribute to research
What would you
regarding
call
the beaches
Hartman?
and the Death Stranding. And completing these
you
deliveries
had
will give us more
Kojima's
information
mind.
about these topics. It's just like the oxytocin delivery. It's a set of quests that don't have a major focus on one character, but do progress the narrative in a meaningful way. Before we go though, Hartman finds a small vial in the bag we carried Mama in, which contains an umbilical cord that looks like a BT tether rather than an actual cord. He doesn't have any information about it now, but he might when we return. One thing I will say is that I like how Hartman's condition was utilized during this cutscene. His 21 minutes are about to be up when we talk to him, so he has us wait in his room while he goes to the beach. The game gives you enough things to look at, but it can be a very boring 3 minutes. Plus, you're right in the middle of a conversation, and doing this shows the player how interactions with him can be. People generally hate being interrupted, and this is what interacting with Hartman is like, as 1 minute he's awake, and the next he's gone. This also happens again later when Hartman collapses mid-conversation.
Both Deadman and Die Hardman would work, but he already has those characters. Damn, how unfucking fortunate. He really wrote himself into a corner, didn't he? His staffer's coming in. Kojima, maybe we could call this guy, maybe Deadman would be a more fitting name. Kojima sits him down. You're going to want to sit down for this one. Staffer number 4, fourth staffer to bring this up to me. You're going to want to sit down for this. All hands meeting in the writing room. It's right there. You see it, guys? You see where we need to be? Oh, no, actually, that's like... Well, that's one checkpoint. Kojima, we can't call him Death Man. It's becoming too much at this point. Death Man. Death Man. It works so well.
Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Weapons detected.
Could call him Beachman.
Hey, glad.
That's 5 stars.
Oh, hey. I've got a little something for you, if you're cool with it. Here's to hoping it makes your life a little easier. Always a pleasure, Sam. Shame we only ever seem to meet when you're hauling something across the country for me. Take it easy, okay? I mean, as easy as you can.
I think we're like 80% of the way there because they're spaced out a little further apart in the second row. You have more? Oh, I don't want to go back to the wind farm. And the great thing is, we don't necessarily need to, because that icon there with the two hands is the one that we don't need. We do need the cargo one, though. Now, how are we going to get around this beach? Can I just climb the mountain? I see stuff up there. I say beach? Fucking time fall zone, whatever. You see that? It says sex grenade. Yeah, guys, I think we're going around. Yeah, I think we're going around it. Now, if the BTs are also up here... If there are also BTs up here, I might, like, rip my fingernail off. Okay. It looks good. And the rain is gone.
Let's do this.
Construction complete.
This is a good bridge. This is a good placement.
Today's a good day.
Beautiful. Okay, this is gonna work out very nicely. That one's a little too far. That's fine. Now we just gotta get down.
Should be nice when it's done.
Construction complete.
Can the carrier... Can I bring the carrier down with me like this? I feel good about this. Yeah, that's fine. We're not upgrading these, let's be real.
Beginning scan.
Alright.
Clear. Weapons detected.
Oh, that's right. Oh no. Yeah, there's one more area.
All weapons will be locked until the project.
I don't know why I forgot about that one.
All clear. Welcome, Sam Porter. Keep construction complete.
That one we can do. Emergency fuel, we can do both of these.
Information we learned from the scientists is as follows. There were apparently deposits of chiralium dating as far back as 65 million years ago, meaning chiralium didn't just appear recently. Furthermore, a species known as ammonite, which is dated to be about 200 million years old, had an umbilical cord attached to it. Mammals are the only species that have umbilical cords, and we only use them for reproductive reasons, so this species having one is strange. I know a lot of that information seems forced and out of nowhere, but it does make sense in a weird way. The chiral network not only allows people to share information with one another, but it also uses the beach, meaning we could use the beach to find data about our world that's been lost to time or the Death Stranding. That's why building the chiral network is so critical, as it provides us the means to overcome the Death Stranding by giving us all the information we had prior to its events. Once we return to Hartman, he says he has a message for us from Deadman. He says that the umbilical cord we delivered was taken for Bridget Strand, and that it was outside her body rather than inside. The cord, like Mama's, was filled with chiralium, meaning Bridget had connection to the beach via the umbilical cord, but why was it on the outside? Thanks to the info, Hartman has a developing theory, that the 5 mass extinctions occurred because of the Death Stranding, and that we're in the middle of the 6th one. He further states that the Death Stranding occurs because of a host called the Extinction Entity. Each entity from the previous 5 extinctions had an umbilical cord attached to the outside of their body, despite the species not needing these cords for anything. With that information laid out, Hartman thinks that Amelie could be the 6th extinction entity. Once again, I say theory, but he's correct. Hartman is almost always right about everything. Now, at the time, this really is a theory, and we'll have to wait to the end of the game to actually get the answer, but upon replaying the game, you'll notice how much of Hartman's supposed theories are really just facts. It's nice to be able to get some concrete info in a game where the characters lie to you quite a bit, but it does feel out of place sometimes. Hartman goes from his talk about the extinction right into what he calls this extinction entity theory, despite the fact that we've never heard this word before. Plus, this isn't a theory, it's just straight up canon fact, because all of this is real. It's Kojima once again using Hartman to relay truth about the game to the player. However,
Okay, hang on. I want to, but what if actually we wait in case Fort Knot City has more orders for these locations? Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna wait. And so I need this stuff back. Oh no, not the carrier. Oops. Oops. Hang on, some of this is mine. Okay, maybe not all of this. Oh, how are we gonna go about this one? That's a steep mountain. I don't know. Maybe with some ladders? How many do I have on me? Now I have 2.
Keep on beginning scan. Have a pleasant journey. Safe travels. Safe travels.
Yeah, this is the real Porter mindset.
Weapons restrictions lifted.
Oh, someone already threw one all the way over there. All right.
Construction complete.
do have one genuine question about this theory of his. Hartman states that the 5 extinctions all had an extinction entity. These would naturally be the ones leading the species. So when the dinosaurs were reigning supreme, we can assume that the extinction entity was a dinosaur, and that's where I'm lost. I said earlier that animals can't enter the beach, but extinction entities require beaches in order to enact the Death Stranding. But if all animals can't have beaches, how does the extinction entity have a beach? Remember, the beaches are a manifestation of humanity's perception of death, which means the beaches were created and accessed through our higher level of thinking since we're sentient. Animals aren't sentient, and thus don't think about the perception of death or any matter of high-level cognitive thought. So since they can't, how do they have beaches? The game is practically contradicting itself here, which is why I'm genuinely asking if I missed something, as I have read no evidence that explains why. My current theory is that this is either a mistake in the writing or that only the extinction entities have beaches. The latter is a very loose theory, but it's my attempt to make sense of it all. More important than that, though, is the information about Amelie. It is indeed true that she is the extinction entity for the 6th Death Stranding, so we should be careful around her and consider what she plans to do with her power. With all that finished though, we have one more thing left to do before reaching Edge Knot City. Figure out how to cross the tar belt that surrounds the city. This was admittedly a really cool puzzle, as it didn't hold your hand unlike most of the game. Walking through the tar belt kills you, and you can't drive or launch anything over it. The only way to do it is to intentionally get captured by a BT. Once grabbed, BTs will drag you to a more spacious location, so that the bigger BTs can spawn. Buildings and debris also spawn since the tar is raising the objects around it.
Bring them here.
So by intentionally spawning a boss fight, we now have a way to cross the tar belt. Parkouring across the buildings though is a bit of a pain, but just in case you're like me and die, the resulting void out will give you enough room to walk around the edge of the crater to Edge Knot City. Even though it took me a few minutes to solve, I really enjoy the out-of-box thinking required to solve it. Sam then sees Amelie near the coast before falling into the tar, and waking up on the coast near Edge Knot City.
Wait, how'd he?
So
hang
far
on,
in this video, the ratio of questions to answers has been about 1,000 to 1, so it's time to flip. With all that finished though, we have one more thing left to do before reaching Edge Knot City. Figure out how to cross the tar belt that surrounds the city. This was admittedly a really cool puzzle, as it didn't hold your hand unlike most of the game. Walking through the tar belt kills you, and you can't drive or launch anything over it. The only way to do it is to intentionally get captured by a BT. Once grabbed, BTs will drag you to a more spacious location.
Okay. All the Pikmin are showing up. What's going on, Tommy?
The bigger BTs can spawn. Buildings and debris also spawn since the tar is raising the objects around it. So by intentionally spawning a boss fight,
Edging City is an interesting name.
Parkouring across the buildings though is a bit of a pain, but just in case you're like me and die, the resulting void out will give you enough room to walk around the edge of the crater to Edge Knot City.
Bring it on.
Even though it took me a few minutes to solve, I really enjoy the out-of-box thinking required to solve it. Sam then sees Amelie near the coast before falling into the tar, and waking up on the coast near Edge Knot City. So far in this video, the ratio of questions to answers has been about 1,000 to 1, so it's time to flip that as the next few hours are all about answers. After going through quite a few BTs, we make it to Edge Knot City and have officially reconnected all of America to the Cargo network. But it's too early to celebrate, as once the network is complete, Higgs arrives to once again ruin the day. Amelie says that since we've connected every knot together, she can now link all the beaches to hers, causing an extinction far greater than anything that's came before it. This isn't the 6th Death Stranding, the one of the many links in the chain. This would be the last Stranding. It would completely decimate the land, killing all life and possibly the planet itself, and as the extinction entity, it's her job to bring about this destruction. Higgs also adds that the reason we have dooms and repatriation abilities is because of Amelie. Since she's the extinction entity, she's the source of these powers. What follows is a lengthy boss fight between Sam and one of the largest BTs in the game. Once it's defeated though, the three reconvene again, which leads to Higgs shooting Sam and taking Amelie to the beach for what he calls the grand finale. To get there though, we're gonna need Fragile, who once again reminds Sam to uphold his part of the deal, defeat Higgs but leave him alive. Fragile then plans to jump Sam into Amelie's beach using his Dreamcatcher, and then using her bracelet to bring herself to Sam. This necklace is given quite a bit of attention throughout the game, along with this Kipu that Sam made for Amelie. It's learned that if you have a strong connection to someone, then you can visit their beach. I don't know if there's a proper word for this, but think of these objects as things that hold significance to these people, which is why they can use it to find that person's beach. Now, I want to clarify that the beaches still behave normally, so it's not like Sam can hold the Dreamcatcher and then just magically appear on the beach. He has to be taken there by someone who can, like Fragile. But the Dreamcatcher can help him find the specific beach easier as it's connected to Amelie. This concept reappears shortly using a baby doll, so keep this in mind. But the plan ends up working and Sam makes it to the beach. Things look strange though, as not only is Amelie
I forgot to pick it up. I forgot to pick it up. Oh, for some reason I was thinking we had to rescue the flag spear from here. Ah, I forgot to pick it up. Oops. You know what? Give me that power skeleton. Obstacle detected. Is that this thing? I'm so sorry. This is a good spot, which is why I have to get rid of you.
Structure dismantled.
Hurry up, man. Those damn fools.
I was wrong. That doesn't seem to have been the obstacle. Okay. Alright, game plan. We gotta go back. We gotta go back. I don't know if I trust that zip line. I gotta be real.
This thing
Maybe.
faster.
Construction complete.
Confused as to why Sam is here, but Higgs is bowing in front of her despite the fact that he's supposed to be her captor. Before he's caught though, he suspends her in a web of tar and tells Sam that his goal has been to keep the extinction entity safe. According to Higgs, humanity has about a few thousand years before we all go extinct, so why not cut to the chase and go out with a bang? Sam refuses to let that happen, and Higgs won't let Sam win, and so begins a good old-fashioned boss. Nah, I'll just let Higgs say it. I think out of all the roles Troy Baker has ever done, Higgs might be my favorite of them all. While I liked his role as Joel in The Last of Us, I've always found him to play a fantastic villain. He is the actor who voiced Pagan Min after all. Higgs is an incredible villain, from his character design to his charismatic fourth wall breaking. He's one of those characters you just love to hate. But keeping in line with the whole getting answers thing, Higgs says that he's a repatriate. We don't get to see him repatriate in game, so we can't tell if he's lying, but it doesn't matter anyway, as if one of them dies, they can't go back. Repatriation allows someone's soul to go back to the land of the living. However, Sam and Higgs are past that plane of existence, since they're on the beach. And repatriation prevents you from going to the beach, so Higgs is telling the truth here. But this discovery brings up an interesting point. We're so close to the end of the game, and yet we don't really know a whole lot about Higgs. Well, if you manage to do a specific side quest, then you might know a bit more than you think. Early in the game, we get a delivery order for pizza. This is a part of the main quest section of orders, yet feels like a side quest. These are some of my favorite quests in all of video games, as they're side quests that are given main quest priority for some reason, which means there's something going on here, and sure enough, there is. The order is from a Peter Englert, and just like with Higgs, unless you have a degree in physics, you likely won't catch the connection. Peter Englert is a combination of two names, Peter Higgs and Francis Englert, who won the Nobel Peace Prize for the discovery of the Higgs mechanism. If you've noticed the connection, then you're catching on, as Peter is actually Higgs, which is not only hilarious, as he's basically forcing Sam to travel across the country to deliver him pizza, but it's also rather creepy, as inside his house is various pictures of Sam at different points in the game. Higgs has been stalking Sam, and by extension us, throughout the game, which is a very unsettling feeling. On his desk, though, are some journal entries that are written by him for us to read, but these are only a fraction of the total
We have
amount.
not
There are
quite
28
seen that
different
yet.
journal entries that are written by Higgs, which give us an understanding of the world from his point of view. The first 9 entries are about Higgs' early life as a porter. Surprisingly, he used to do it for survival since he had a rough home life, but over time he started to do it for the sake of it. He was a real tried-and-true altruist and loved helping people. Fragile Express ended up hearing about Higgs' accomplishments and that he had dubs, so they recruited him to their outfit. That's when he would meet Fragile, and the two worked as a team. This also seems to be around the same time Higgs developed a hatred for bridges. One of the other side missions we can do is only available in the director's cut, and it has to do with a woman named Coffin. Coffin is Fragile's mother, and just like her dad, they were porters who did deliveries for bridges. Coffin would renounce her contract with them, though, once she discovered that the cargo she was carrying were BBs. She then worked together with a ragtag group of porters to bring down bridges, and among their ranks was Higgs. Now at the time, Higgs was using his Peter persona, but she cared deeply for him and sympathized with his tragic upbringing. Eventually, though, Coffin would end up passing away, as their final mission was to assault the facility we entered to complete the mission. Inside is various objects that are used by the Still Mothers Bridges has. The facility was then overrun, but Bridges managed to cover up their involvement by blowing up the facility and locking it away. One by one, the members would die, with Coffin being the last. Her final message was for Higgs, and it was for him to continue her legacy and not let the flame die out. It's unclear if Higgs managed to find this message since the facility is locked from the inside, but it seems to work anyway, as the Homo Demons are likely his attempt at keeping that flame alive. The timeline for Higgs is very confusing, especially since the missions with Coffin were added after the game's release, but it seems like all of this happened before he met Fragile. Assuming that's true, Higgs would eventually meet Fragile, or Coffin's daughter, and the two would work as a team under Fragile Express, but as we know, he would end up betraying her. His betrayal was due to him meeting Amelie, who would twist his world upside down. He, like Lucy, was shown images of the beach and the Death Stranding and realized, what's the point? If the world is going to die, why even bother trying? That's why he joined up with Amelie to make the extinction happen. The thing is, though, is that Amelie doesn't seem to want this to happen. The last few entries of his journal are related to the present-day events, such as entry 17 that talks about Sam and Fragile arriving in Port Knot City, which is when we had to fight that Squid BT earlier. But entry 18 says that Amelie seems to be rejecting her true nature and delaying the Death Stranding, and this is indeed true. Amelie is a bit of a complex case because she's both trying to and not trying to destroy the world. She doesn't want to, but the universe is forcing her, as that's the role she was given at birth. Her only purpose in life is to bring about the Death Stranding, so refusing to do so would be going against her entire reason for existing. Circling back to the start of that entry, though, Higgs is trying to enact the last stranding, as to him, the world is doomed anyway, so why not end it on our own terms? There's a common saying you may have heard of, and that's life has no meaning. This is often used in nihilistic circles as a way to say that life has no meaning, so what's the point anymore? But this can also be twisted in a more positive meaning, such as life has no meaning until you give it one. Since life has no meaning, it's up to you to define what that meaning is. Or in another way, thanks to life having no predetermined meaning, we're able to make our own. Higgs and Sam are the two sides of this meaning. One sees no point in continuing because of the odds, while the other wants to keep going despite those odds. This also connects to what Higgs says in the beginning of the fight, regarding the stick versus rope and the gun versus strand. The very first thing we see when starting the game is a quote about the stick and the rope, and how these were the first two objects that man used, the stick to keep things away, and the rope to bring them closer. Higgs is the stick, Sam is the rope. Higgs is pushing people away to make sure Amelie fulfills her purpose, and Sam is bringing people together via the chiral network. That is what this fight is all about. Who will prevail, the stick or the rope? The fight with Higgs requires us to use the cargo left on the beach as a weapon to distract him so we can get in closer. This is also the moment that sparked that whole "this game feels like a game" comment I said in the intro, as the final fight is a full-on Street Fighter style matchup, filled with health bars, light attacks, and dodges. Sadly, there isn't any combos in the
think that
traditional
one's
sense. You're
saved?
really just playing
'Cause I haven't
footsies and
saved
fighting
in a
for
little
neutral
bit.
the whole time, but it was fun and is the kind of absurdity you expect from games. Only video games are able to pull this off and not immediately provoke some side-eye from the audience. It's still incredibly out of place here in Death Stranding, but that goes back to the whole "that's just so Kojima" comment. Death Stranding is an incredibly serious game about a very serious topic, but at its core, it's still a game, which is why there is references to grinding, boss fights, and game overs. This does create a weird imbalance, as you're supposed to take the game seriously, but there's times when its contents are complete parody, like the whole Metal Gear Solid game over screen in the background. But I found that it was not only in good fun, but it never took away from the overall message, as right after this fight the game goes back to serious mode and showcases another core theme of the game. Once Higgs is defeated, something happens. He talks up a big game about how his bond between Amelie is made of stronger stuff, before realizing his powers are gone. His dooms were never his to begin with. They were always Amelie's, so he never had real power without her.
No.
Higgs' descent from altruistic porter to egotistical terrorist is fascinating to see unfold, as it connects to the idea of hiding behind a mask. The game has placed a major importance on Higgs' mask, and not just visually, but more symbolically. Masks are used quite a bit throughout the game. namely with Die
326? We
Hardman,
actually could
Higgs,
make
and
that if we
Amelie.
upgrade this.
For Higgs, the mask represents his ego. With the mask, he's Higgs, the fearsome terrorist. Without it, he's Higgs the porter. The mask is a representation of his ego, thanks to him letting the powers he got go to his head. We can even see this during the second part of the boss fight, where he goes, "Ugh, I could beat you," as if he's hyping himself up since he knows he's losing. Higgs is nothing without these powers, and he'd forgotten that along the way. The mask is also ordained in this gold color so as to stand out amongst the others, further reinforcing how far his ego has gone. For Amelie, it's a representation of her extinction entity persona.
it's already
Every
level
time we
2?
talk with her, she isn't wearing it, and these talks are about encouraging Sam to keep going. Once she wears the mask, though, she
No.
starts spouting out nonsense about the last Stranding. Whereas a mask is used to hide the wearer's true
240
appearance,
chemicals,
with Amelie, it's the opposite.
480
but
special
as I said,
alloy.
It's complicated, since she doesn't want to enact the last Stranding, but she also doesn't have a choice. As for Die Hardman, well, we'll get to him soon, but it's clear that this mask of his is
240,
also hiding
480.
something. Sam and Amelie then talk for a bit, and probably the worst line in the game is spoken. Amelie tells Sam that she managed to visit him at one point during one of their many talks, meaning she was never captured and could have just left at any point. She did this because Sam doesn't care about the UCA or America, and thus wouldn't have gone on this journey if it didn't involve Amelie. Sam then replies, "So what, I'm Mario and you're Princess Peach?" To which Amelie says, I know, but it worked out, so let's run home together, like Mario and Princess Peach." I don't know if I should laugh at this line or be genuinely disappointed by it, especially because the game fully commits to this bit by having the two run along the shore like it's the climax of a romance novel. It's the most out-of-place scene in the whole game, but I think that's intentional. This came right after the end of the final boss, so my thinking is that Kojima put this here as a sort of subversion. The last 20 minutes has
No,
this weird
Kojima
video
put it
game
there 'cause
ending.
he's Kojima. What are you
Defeat the big
talking
bad,
about,
rescue the
man?
girl, and go home. That's why I found the health bars to not be too distracting, as it fits what happened after. You've grinded for hours and built up your arsenal of weapons and skills in order to defeat the big boss in an over-the-top boss fight. The fight to end all fights, the finale, the climactic end to the game, and then once you win, you're rewarded with the girl you spent hours desperately trying to save, and the two you walk off into the sunset. Like I said, it's a very traditional video game style ending, but Death Stranding is not a traditional game, which is why the game is not done after this supposed ending. I'd argue we're just getting started. As right when they stop, Amelie disappears and Bridget and Die Hardman appear nearby. Die Hardman has a gun to Bridget and shoots her, but the bullets go through her. Shortly after, Cliff appears and Die Hardman is shocked at seeing him. Cliff then asks Bridget where BB is, who then points to Sam. Amelie reappears and pushes Sam off the cliff, which somehow sends him back to the land of the living. I'll get to that whole fiasco later, so for now let's just focus on the present. Sam is back at the safe house that was located near the tar belt we crossed earlier. Deadman is also here via hologram and says that both him, Fragile, Hartman, and Mama are all here at the capital Knot City. The problem is that Fragile can't jump us to the city since she's already used her powers too many times. We saw this much earlier when she started bleeding after teleporting too much, but now she seems to be in a much worse state, which means we have to go from here all the way back to the beginning of the game. It's the longest and most dangerous trek by far, as the chiral density has increased, so BTs have increased in number, and simply entering a zone will cause a boss fight to start. Once we reach the port, we get the final fight with Cliff, and everything goes as expected, except defeating him has a different ending. Instead of Cliff and Sam fighting over Lou again, he gives up. He realizes that BB was in front of him all along. Deadman said that Sam and Lou's memories were mixing. What we were seeing were from BB's perspective, but this is false. These are Sam's memories. Sam is not only a former Bridge baby, but also Cliff's son. Sam doesn't understand it just yet, but he will in time. For now, Cliff and Sam hug as father and son, something Cliff had wanted to do this whole time. It's such a captivating and a tear-jerking scene. Seeing these two actors act in such a believable way as father and son was incredible. Right after this, Sam wakes up in another safe house, and Deadman plays him a recording of Die Hardman, who says that Bridget had invited him to her beach, which is how he got there earlier. He knew it was a trap though, which is why he made this recording, and he states that when he became the director of Bridges, he used his access to look at some protected files from the company archives. And within them, he discovered that Bridget had uterine cancer in her 20s, meaning she couldn't have had children, yet somehow she gave birth to Amelie.
Alright guys, what are the odds that I upgrade this and we fly over there only to get jumped by BTs when we land? What are the odds? Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Structure upgraded.
Oops. Let's see what happens. Maybe it'll take us over the BTs. So far, so good. We're getting close to the ground, though. No! Sam! Disattach! Put the cart down, Sam! Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Go, Sam. Sam, you fucking go! I can't pause the game, I can't pause the game. Oh, no. Put the cart down, Don't touch the cart. Don't touch the cart. Do not touch the cart. Don't touch it. Don't stop that. Get away from the cart. Can you, like, not find me? What's your deal? Okay, there you go. Get away from me. Climb, Sam. Sam, he's doing the move! Sam! Climb the rocks! Oh! Why are you just jumping in the air? You. Feed him, BB. I don't care. I'm sorry, BB. We're dead. Sam's over here playing fucking hopscotch! Eat my fucking... God damn it. Yeah, we're still doing this, huh? Don't do that. Where are we? Yeah, it was kind of funny, actually. No. Not this time. Severely damaged? Yeah. Yeah, they got us again, boys. We're gonna have to go and get that stuff again. Oh my god. I can make this work.
Let's do this.
There's no time. No time, Sam. Whatever. You fucking moron. God damn it, Sam.
Construction complete.
God damn it, Sam. Yeah, let's see what we got here.
Keep on, Sammy boy.
How we looking? Obliterated. Obliterated. These are maybe passable. Let's go make all this work. I think this is safe. Wait, can I get up there, though? It's already raining again. And there's ETs! They're back already! Guys, I'm crashing out. I'm crashing out. I'm fucking crashing out. Oh, I'm fucking crashing out. I'm fucking crashing out. It's right there. It's right there. We're so close. We're so close. Like underneath me. Sam. 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 Sam.
Construction complete.
There's no time, Sam. Whatever, okay. You know what? Actually, we can make time. We'll wait.
I think it's clearing up.
Insufficient bandwidth? Insufficient bandwidth. Huh? What zone is this a part of? Oh. Insufficient bandwidth. Why is that? How much bandwidth have you given me? It would appear that I haven't really placed very much. I've placed 2 items. Insufficient bandwidth, huh? Tell me, my good fellow, where is all of this bandwidth going? The zip line is only 500. Maybe it is other player stuff. Alright, I gotta start tearing things down. Let me see if that is the case.
Structure dismantled.
No. I didn't change any of those numbers. Where is all of my bandwidth going, good sir? Where's all my bandwidth? For this sector? Where's my bandwidth? Oh, it's just the entire eastern region. Oh. I see. So there is merit to upgrading things and not just building new ones every 50 meters. That makes sense. Any chance I can fit all of this on my person? And that makes it all the more important to be using other people's items since those do not take up bandwidth. Especially other people's zip lines.
Beginning scan. Current bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Welcome to port. Not safe. Proceed to distribution center. Safe travels.
Hey, Sam.
Decontaminated suit.
Guys, I'm back. It's only been 2. I've only had 2 void outs since you guys last saw me.
Thanks for the help.
Only 2. This could still get us the S+. The S, rather.
Whoa,
Maybe.
Hey, Sam.
It will.
No harm in taking. Good work. New order of it.
Oh, I think it's gonna take us a while to move all this stuff, isn't it? Oh no, I really thought I was done with this area today, huh? I really did. Certified Death Stranding moment. Yeah. uh, uh, uh. Capped out on resin. I don't care right now. Okay. 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 Um. Hmm. 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 I rip up the speed skeleton, give me a new speed. And I need a new gun.
Thank you for your contribution.
Okay. Hey, great news though. I believe I have a working route. There's 2 void outs now. Makes a big handprint. Do those go away? I mean, I actually kind of hope that they don't. Jake Wind, my sincerest thanks and condolences. The Ludens fan. Are you a Ludens? Guys, I don't know what that means. Is that a word? Is that a game? Ludens. It's the mascot. Kojima Productions mascot. Okay. I didn't know if that was a reference to something, like, actually in the from the real world. A letter from a porter number 1, an unidentified porter. A letter from a porter number 2, an unidentified porter. Why don't we just test out our new route? Why don't we just test it? I may have been overzealous here. I don't know if I can fit all of this everywhere. Uh-huh. Right. Barely.
Order assigned. Delivery parameters updated.
Gonna test it out. I could fit a little more if I took one of the other vehicles. Let's just test it. Damn, these are actually both in really inaccessible areas, aren't they? Oh, yeah, these are in really awful spots to get to. What the hell? BB gets insane buffs when he's excited? Yeah, I gotta figure something out up here. I do need to free up at least, like, one accessible... I mean, this doesn't need to be up here. I could tear this down and put it just down on the road. I think this one's safer. This one also looks like it just takes you straight to Wind Farm. Okay. I can tear that one down. I don't need that. We have a route now. Is that one mine? I don't believe it is. No. I can tear this one down over here.
Decontaminating suit. Footwear condition poor. Replacement is advised.
Back. Fight. Good work. New.
Yeah, we'll go do that real quick. Do I have my speed skeleton?
Condition poor. Safe trap advised. Weapons restrictions lifted.
Well... No. Yeah, okay, this one doesn't really help me anywhere. We tear that? Okay, we're gonna tear down this one. Because that one does what we need it to.
Structure dispatch. Beginning scan. Scanning bridges ID. Verifying ID. Clear. Weapons detected. All weapons will be locked until departure. All clear. Welcome, Sam Porter Bridges. Weapons restrictions lifted.
Let's go grab the flag real quick and also tear down the one up there.
This is like one of those where you've never seen Amelie and Bridget in the same room before, so they must be the same person, except this is actually real. Amelie and Bridget are the same person. Bridget is the body, Amelie is the soul, the heart and the cock. That's why Sam only met Amelie on the beach, and why she could only ever be talked to via hologram because she wasn't real to begin with. This extinction entity has two names, Bridget and Amelie. They are one and the same. Bridget covered for her other half by saying that Amelie was her daughter, and that she had a condition that made her not age. Bridget was the body, and thus the body ages, which is why she ages. Amelie is the soul, and souls don't age, which is why she never aged. The game also teases this during that Princess Beach scene, as once Amelie appears again, you'll notice that Bridget is no longer on the shore, the same as when Bridget appears right when Amelie disappears. This completely changes the story of Death Stranding, but we still have more to discuss. The final leg of this journey has us fighting a giant BT whale, the largest boss by far in both size and health. Amelie is getting close to enacting the last Stranding, which is causing the world to go into chaos, so it makes sense why the largest BT is still waiting for us. I also like the detail of it being a whale of all creatures too. After it's defeated, we visit Fragile, who's looking quite bad. Thankfully, she musters up enough strength to send Sam to Amelie's beach. Before that happens though, Sam says a speech to the group which talks about rebuilding what we lost, and that even though death is inevitable, we gotta keep going as long as we can, so we can say we had a good run. He also goes on to say that before he only cared about seeing the next sunrise, but now that he's met them, they helped him change his outlook on life. Sam has shown genuine growth over the course of this game and has become less pessimistic about his life. Whereas Higgs went one direction in regards to his character arc, Sam went the other. He's gone from a lonely porter to someone with friends who've showed him the true beauty of life and how just building one connection with someone can change your life. It's just overall such a great speech with an equally great message. Sam will then appear on Amelie's beach, and hers is much different than any of the beaches we've ever gone to.
I actually didn't need to come here.
I wish the whole area wasn't covered in fog, though, because the earth in the background is a real sight to behold if you screw the photo mode settings.
Fine.
Sam and Amelie then meet and talk. She presents Sam with two options: end it now or continue on knowing that the struggle will be pointless. She then hands Sam the gun and tells him to choose. She also says that you should know what to do by now, and if you've gotten this far, then you should. I feel like this message was directed at the player rather than Sam, as Death Stranding has told you since the beginning that death is not the answer no matter what, which is why the correct answer is to put away the gun and embrace Amelie. The last Stranding may happen tomorrow, next week, next year, or next decade, but it doesn't mean we stop. Like I said, life has no meaning until you give it one. Just because the world is going to end doesn't mean we just drop what we're doing and accept it. We should instead live our lives to the fullest, knowing we had a good run. Hugging it out and preventing the last Stranding temporarily is for the greater good, but we are going to be hurting Amelie in the process. She doesn't have a beach. She is the beach. As such, she can't leave. She'll be stuck here for however long it takes to enact the last Stranding alone without anyone to speak to. But she knows this is the right decision, that if she has to suffer so that everyone can survive, then she'll do it. My favorite line of hers is at the end, when she says that the extinction wasn't just an ending, but an opportunity. The Death Stranding has connected the people of this world in ways that wouldn't have been possible without it. They adapted and are attempting to overcome the very thing that is trying to destroy them by doing it together. This is what Death Stranding is all about. Human connection. Embrace others rather than push them away. Become the rope and not the stick. Violence begets violence, and killing Amelie would have solved nothing, and letting her enact her own form of violence wouldn't have either. Which is why we have to stop this string of hatred and death once and for all and just accept each other regardless of who they are, even if that being was born to kill the entire world. Sam has a deep love for Amelie, which makes this connection personal to him. It's not just about saving the world, but also letting someone he loves know that they aren't alone, and that he'll always be there for them, even if they're stranded on the beach for the rest of time. The problem is that doing this has now...
Okay, that did buy us. We can place 2 more now. I want to do 1 more at the southern edge of the map. We actually don't have anything left going there other than the flag and something at the capital that we need. Do we want to try the capital run? That's all? Just the one item? All right.
Order assigned. Delivery parameters updated. Time EPOS standing on. Footwear safe trap. Replacement is advised.
Econ keeping up.
Weapons restrictions lifted.
Stranded Sam on his own beach and he can't return. After walking for what feels like an eternity, Sam attempts to kill himself with a gun, but it won't work. Amelie doesn't want Sam to end it, nor does she want him to feel lonely, which is why she brought Cliff and him together. Amelie was the one who summoned Cliff into the world. The World War era beach thing seems to be Cliff's own creation, but him being present in the world was Amelie's doing. She wanted Sam to know that he was never alone, and that he needs to live and not throw away his life. Oddly enough, attempting to kill himself was the key to saving it, as Hardman was able to track
I could
Jesus
maybe
to
get rid
beaches
of the
and
one
find out
over
where
to
he
the
was.
right.
Before he leaves, though, we see the same 5 entities we saw at the beginning
If
of the
this
game.
works.
It's never explained what these individuals are, but there are 2 theories.
I think
they
it
are either
will.
the 5 extinction entities or the 5 friends Sam has made along the way. Fragile, Deadman, Heartman, Die Hardman, and Mama. Personally, I think it's both. Just as a word's meaning may change over time, so too has this. In the beginning, these entities represented death and were meant to be feared. It wouldn't be wrong to assume that they were the extinction entities. But now that Sam has made new friends and we the player have developed connections to these individuals, the entities are now a representation of Sam's friendships. Each of these 5 people have built a bond with Sam, and his actions have changed their lives for the better.
I'm gonna triple check
Mama was
here.
able to move on and reconnect with her sister. Deadman found his first real friend. Hartman didn't exactly move on, but we do get an email after the game is over that says he has stopped his search for their beaches and has met someone new.
You do have
Fragile
things
has
that need
become
to
a lot
go
more
there.
friendly, and like Sam has a more optimistic look towards the future. Earlier I said Fragile had ulterior motives, and I didn't mean for that to come off as villainous. It's just that Fragile never wanted to help with our main objective of finding Amelie. The only reason she joined us is that it just so happens that our objectives are intertwined, as finding Amelie also means defeating Higgs. You can tell that Fragile is happy to be of help to Sam. Whenever you use the fast travel mechanic, you can see her smiling, which just shows that she's happy to help. We also learn after the
I'm
game
gonna
is
leave
over
that
that
there.
Fragile restarted the business. She's back to doing what she wanted to do before Higgs ruined it. I've said that Fragile Express was her business, but in reality it was her late father's idea. The company was just named after her. So getting rid of Higgs and reconnecting America gives her the chance to continue her father's last wish. Die Hardman is the only one I'm a bit unsure of, but to be fair, he has been a helping hand all game, and reconnecting America was his goal, so in a way we did help him with something. But still, each one of these 5 entities can be seen as the 5 friends we've grown to love over the course of the game. As Sam approaches them, Deadman pulls him from the bottom through a seam and back into the land of the living. Time passes, and we see Die Hardman giving a speech to the US as the new president. He and all our friends have the same kipu Sam made Amelie on their chest, which represents their bond and connection, not just to each other, but to the whole United States. Everyone is in the room listening in. Sam, Deadman, Mama, Fragile, even Hartman, but he's in the middle of a beach trip. Everything has been answered except for one question. What started the Death Stranding? Well, the answer is Sam. The final mission in the game is to take Lou to the incinerator, as she's past her expiration date. The Deadman says that Sam could take her out of the pod if he wants to, but it could kill her in the process. While at the incinerator, we see the full scene of those memories of Cliff we've been seeing since the start of the game. Cliff Unger was visiting
Okay,
his wife at
if
the
I
hospital
upgrade
when
this
he was
one,
visited by Die Hardman. He quickly shuts off the cameras and tells Cliff to
We
take BB
could
and get
cut
out of
one
here.
out.
Die Hardman
We
knew
could
of the
cut out
BB
this one.
experiments and didn't want his former commanding officer to have their son be used in BB tech. Cliff then shoots his wife, as this would be the last time they would see each other, and he doesn't want her to be a part of the experiments as well. Afterward, he took Sam, who's still in the BB pod, and attempts to escape but gets shot in the process. While he bleeds out, he starts singing and talking to Sam before the guards break through the door. Die Hardman and Bridget
Actually,
are
I could
also
upgrade-
using the ladder or an informer to shoot him now that he's taken BB out of
That
his
one is the
pod.
one that I would want to
Here we
upgrade,
can see
I
the
think.
mask come into play again, as Bridget is wearing a mask to mask her identity so that no one can connect her to the experiments going on here. Die Hardman wears the mask because of what happens next, as Bridget pulls the trigger for him, killing Cliff and Sam with the same bullet. In order to cover up the story, Die Hardman would have to fake his own death and change his name. Whereas characters like Higgs use a mask to hide their other persona, for Die Hardman the mask was literal. He needed to hide his face and name from everyone so that no one could find out what happened here. While Die Hardman is still getting over the death of his friend, Bridget attempts to revive the baby to no avail, and then gets sent to the beach next to Amelie, who then revives it by sending it back through her beach to the land of the living. That's how Sam gained his Doom and Repatriate abilities, but also how the Death Stranding started, as this opened the floodgates for all the BTs, as they used Amelie's beach to go to the land of the living. To add to the past references, that's why the baby doll is so significant for Cliff and Die Hardman. The baby doll represents Sam. While he bleeds out, he starts singing and talking to Sam before the guards break through the door. Die Hardman and Bridget are also here with the latter ordering the former to shoot him now that he's taken BB out of his pod. Here we can see the mask come into play again, as Bridget is wearing a mask to mask her identity so that no one can connect her to the experiments going on here. Die Hardman wears the mask because of what happens next, as Bridget pulls the trigger for him, killing Cliff and Sam with the same bullet. In order to cover up the story, Die Hardman would have to fake his own death and change his name. Whereas characters like Higgs use a mask to hide their other persona, for Die Hardman the mask was literal. He needed to hide his face and name from everyone so that no one could find out what happened here. While Die Hardman is still getting over the death of his friend, Bridget attempts to revive the baby to no avail, and then gets sent to the beach next to Amelie, who then revives it by sending it back through her beach to the land of the living. That's how Sam gained his Doom and Repatriate abilities, but also how the Death Stranding started, as this opened the floodgates for all the BTs, as they used Amelie's beach to go to the land of the living. To add to the past references, that's why the baby doll is so significant for Cliff and Die Hardman. The baby doll represents Sam, because for Cliff, that's his son, and for Die Hardman, that's when he shot Sam as a baby. That's why Die Hardman was able to use the doll to travel to Amelie's beach, like how Sam uses his Dreamcatcher to do the same, and why these dolls surround Cliff during his introduction scenes. Higgs also has the doll in his BB pod instead of an actual BB, but I don't think there's a strong connection between them as the other two, which, now that I think about it, actually makes sense, as they're just working together and have no actual connection. The doll was used in a more literal way to be a link to Amelie's beach, whereas the doll for characters like Cliff and Die Hardman had more meaning atop its intended use, further reinforcing that what the two had was just superficial. Higgs just protected her so that her purpose could be fully realized. He never cared about her in the same way Sam cared for her. The final flashback is a meeting between Bridget and Die Hardman, who decide to take Sam out of the pod since he no longer serves his purpose as a BB. This of course has a chance to kill him, but as we know, he survives, and just like Sam, Lou does the same and survives as well. This then prompts Sam to remove his cufflinks and set off into the unknown world with his new daughter Lou. Even though Sam built these connections with these people, he wants to leave them behind as he thinks this new America has no place for him. Seeing as there is a sequel coming, I would love to see where this goes and why he decided to choose this, but regardless, this scene finally brings us to the end of Death Stranding, for real this time. To repeat what I said when I first hit the credits, wow. Death Stranding may be a jumbled mess of a story for 90% of its runtime, but it comes together at the end in a nicely wrapped package. Just about all the burning questions the player will have are answered, and it makes for a rather cohesive story. The game is riddled with themes and messages, all of which are important. One I haven't even talked about yet, as it was just shown towards the end, and that's the pistol. The same pistol that Bridget uses to shoot Cliff and Sam is presumably the same one Die Hardman uses to shoot Bridget, and the same one Amelie gives to Sam when making his decision. It's quite interesting how the gun that started the Death Stranding is also the one that ends it. Now, we don't physically use the gun on Amelie, of course, but having the gun in her hand is a reminder that death is wrong. In an industry where death and violence are commonplace, where you can dismember your enemies in a million different ways, Kojima wanted to make a game that's the opposite. Death Stranding was unlike anything I've ever played before, and it's that key aspect of the game that's going to stay in my brain for the years to come. A lot of games these days feel the same. Everything nowadays seems to be a bloated open world game filled with pointless filler to add runtime. It's just boring, and while some may see Death Stranding as a bad game, I'd rather have a bad game than a boring one. Because at least I was conscious enough while playing to recognize what I disliked, rather than just going through the motions like some kind of zombie. Death Stranding may not have been your cup of tea, which is a completely valid opinion to have, as the gameplay is not for everyone, and the story can not only be difficult to interpret, but also inconsistent, as it comes off as both intelligent and pretentious at the same time. But we should at least recognize that in an industry that is flooded with similar gameplay concepts and mechanics, Death Stranding was trying to be different. It may not be your cup of tea, but it sure as hell is mine. It's a game with a very meta-like narrative that serves as a critique about our own world and how things like violence actually prevents peace rather than achieves it, and how social media is a blessing and a curse. The internet has made us more connected than ever, but sometimes it feels like we're more disconnected than ever. Even if we ignore the out-of-game themes, Death Stranding still has a wonderful story filled with likable characters and a great central plot. The pacing is off at times, and the heavy exposition can feel out of place, but overall I was pleased at my experience. I will admit though that this is not a game for everyone. There's a reason why people say you either love it or hate it, as this game is not the same stuff we've been subjected to, so naturally it's going to displease those that hate it, but really strike something in those that connect with it. It's different, and different doesn't always mean bad, which is why I commend games for reshaping the mold, even if I wasn't a fan of the game personally. And Death Stranding is one of those games that reshaped the mold by creating a style of gameplay that's incredibly unique and a compelling narrative about human connection and how we should come together rather than isolate ourselves. In an industry filled with sticks, Kojima wanted to be the rope. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more.
All right. So once again, that was a story analysis of Death Stranding by Gingy, Gingy. There were a handful of bits and pieces there that was new to me. I don't know if it's exactly what I was looking for. I want something that goes over the... I mean, maybe that did cover the themes and whatnot, and there just wasn't anything that I was not getting. So maybe that is exactly what we were looking for. I've never been very good at looking at like what an artist means. Like, if you put a painting in front of me and asked me to dissect it, I could give you a description of the painting. I don't think I could tell you why the artist made choices, the choices that they did. So if that covered, like, those questions, awesome. Anyhow, let's get through our data, our new data points here. An ageless president from Hartman. My mother's, how'd they pronounce this? Misanja from Fragile. Stupid ass word, says Pelibot. Yeah, I'm right there with you, dog. Report number 9. I can't read this yet because we're missing 5 through 7. But here's report number 9 from Lucy. Memo number 4 from mother to daughter from Coffin. Memo number 5 from mother to daughter from Coffin. Hang on, I need to look something up. Did Higgs end up Lestrin? Hang on, what happened to Higgs? Fragile did not, she explicitly did not kill him, is what she is told us. Seemingly, he was stranded on the beach or killed himself. But I just saw something that leads me toward one conclusion over the other. Alrighty. I think I'm good here. I want to play a little bit of Battlefield before I have to take a nap and get ready for work. I gotta get lunch ready. I think that is gonna be it for me. We got a little bit of work left to do for this area, but I think we have all of the main parts set up. I think we got the worst of the worst out of it. Out of the way. Alright. Thank you guys for... Oh, sorry, hang on. Who do we got here? Jabroni Mike is live right now with Fred Knutson. I believe they are watching the new Down the Rabbit Hole together. Rain is live doing some GTA RP. Who all do we have here? We could pay Rain back. Why not? We have more than 2. We have more than 2. Is it spelled? Hang on, how's it spelled? There we go. Okay. That should be all well and good. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your night. And I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.